You're welcome back. You're still watching TVC Breakfast. We will now link up with Eshomo Moimodu and Tijesu Adeoye in our Abuja studio for the conversation. Good morning. How is Abuja this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Etoma, and good morning, Ibrahim.
Good morning, Ibrahim.
I love the chorus. Looks like you guys planned it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Maybe I should just be a choir master and get you guys.
How is Abuja this morning?
Very well.
Okay.
Cool and calm as always.
All right. Go ahead with it.
Okay, let's offer you what we have on the table this morning. And good morning and thanks for joining us on this segment of the program from Abuja. And just when Nigerians and political observers were hoping that the political tension in Rivers State will begin to mellow down, giving way for peace and development after the Supreme Court judgment, the State House of Assembly adjourned its sitting indefinitely, bringing a new twist to the entire story. The decision to adjourn legislative duties indefinitely was reached during the plenary presided over by the Speaker Martin Amawele in Port Harcourt. Now, the development comes hours after the state governor, Sim Fubara, wrote to the Speaker, informing him of his intention to visit the House to present the 2025 appropriation bill for consideration and approval.
The governor, in a letter dated March 13th and addressed to the Speaker, Martin Amawele, said he intends to present the budget on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, or any other day within March that the House may deem fit. Mr. Fubara said his decision is in compliance with the Supreme Court judgment and in response to the lawmakers' request for him to represent the budget. He recalled the bitter experience of visiting the Assembly quarters with his entourage, where the lawmakers were temporarily sitting to present the budget, but he was denied access to the complex. For more on the implication of the indefinite adjournment of sitting by the Rivers State lawmakers, let's speak with a governorship candidate in the 2023 election and National Leader Simplicity Movement, Subomabu Jakrich, who joins us via Zoom. Mr. Subomabu, thank you for joining us this morning. We also have joining us via Zoom, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Chino Obiagwu. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the show this morning.
I think we have the essay.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, it's good. Let's begin with you, Mr. Chino Obiagwu. Now that the House of Assembly has adjourned indefinitely, what are the implications of failing to represent the 2025 budget as directed by the Supreme Court? Is it likely that the governor will be held in contempt of court?
Well, my understanding is that the governor has requested for permission to present the budget, and his responsibility to submit the budget to the clerk of the House, who will now table it before the House and have it discussed. Once he has done that, he has performed his own duties, his responsibility. It is left for the House to now consider the budget and to deliberate and pass it. The governor cannot spend any money in the state without appropriation law. So I think it's important that that process is completed. The implication is that if he has done what he's supposed to do, submitting the budget proposal as directed by the Supreme Court, and the House adjourned definitely and does not consider it, then there will be a breakdown of governance because there will be no fiscal spending, and that will be a bad day for Rivers State and for Nigeria in general.
Okay, now you said it would be a bad day for Rivers State if the bill is not considered by the House of Assembly. Help us to understand. If you said the governor has done his own responsibility, he's written for permission, and the House has adjourned indefinitely. Now, if it's not considered, who has the responsibility to report back to the Supreme Court so that that order of non-release of FARC will get back to the state? Right? Because do you make the state to keep suffering if the major gladiators are there fighting?
Well, there are options to follow. One, there are legal options, there are political options, there are also social movement options. Now, the legal option to follow is to go back to court and to ask the court to compel the House to do, the needful. Either you go to the Supreme Court for Supreme Court to enforce it, which is very unusual because every court can enforce the order of the Supreme Court. So it's very likely you'll go to Rivers State High Court and ask for order of mandamus, which is clearly a judicial process where a public officer can be compelled by the court to perform his public duties. So the court can compel the Speaker of the House and the Clerk of the House, and indeed the entire House of Assembly of Rivers State to perform their statutory constitutional duty. So that's an option open to the governor to take the legal remedy. The second option is to take political remedy, which is seek political solution to the problem. I mean, there's nothing stopping the Rivers State government inviting the federal government. President Tinubu, who was the state governor for like 8 years and had the same issues with fiscal tussle with the federal government. So nothing stopping the governor approaching the President Tinubu to mediate in the matter, which is a political solution. And thirdly is social solution, mobilize the Rivers State people, because if there's no spending, it affects salaries, salaries will not be paid, contracts will not be awarded and paid for. Even the members of the House whose subvention and funds comes from appropriation law will also be starved of funds. So those kind of pressure from society can also help to convince the Rivers State members of the House of Assembly of Rivers State to do the needful. After all, they represent constituencies in Rivers State.
Okay, we'll come back to you, but let's speak with Mr. Jackrich. Jackrich, I don't know if you can hear me. All right, back to Mr. Jackrich. Are you online? All right, let's go back to you, Mr. Obiagwu. Are you also aware that the spokesman of the House of Assembly says they have not received a formal notification from the governor? They have also challenged him to show an acknowledgement copy to back up his claims. What's going on?
Well, the state of House of Assembly are just dramatizing everything. It is a deliberate thing. They use, they are deliberately frustrating the governors, for the governor to come to them to do the representation of the budget as directed by the Supreme Court. What they are doing, they avoided all the services, all the means of service, directed their correspondent not to accept letters from whoever, so that when the letters are not served for the governor to get an acknowledgement copy as to prove that he has served them and he is coming down, nobody can say the governor has served them or his aides have served them. They are avoiding the service. They don't want to stay and receive the presentation of the appropriation bill and directed by the Supreme Court. What they are doing is to frustrate lack funds, so not to be able to sponsor or to direct the research to go about. Also coming back to organize the local government election. So what they want to do is
Mr. Jackrich, just take this question from me, Mr. Jackrich, please. Mr. Jackrich, now if I got you right, are you saying that the correspondence from the governor to the lawmakers didn't get a corresponding feedback from the lawmakers? Because if nobody received it, which means there was no communication with the House of Assembly. Yes. You agree with that now?
Yes. Very true. It is very true. This is something that is known. They deliberately avoided the services. So compelling the governor to also send them messages via WhatsApp, calling them directly, to at least rub minds with them. These are people that were supposed to come together to, to execute this, the presentation of the budget as directed by the Supreme Court. But what they want to do is to frustrate him so that they cannot have enough resources to organize the local government election anymore. And that will frustrate the effort of the research.
Mr. Jackridge, I hope you know that WhatsApp is not an official mode of communication between the executive and the legislature. But I will come back to that. We'll take this quick break now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Stay with us. We're glad to have you back. You're still watching TVC Breakfast, and we're live from our Abuja studio. We're still discussing the Rivers State crisis. Mr. Subamabo Jackridge, are you still with us? Mr. Subamabo Jackridge. All right. Chino Obiagwu, do we still have you? SAN. Well, we seem to be having trouble there with our connection, but with the ongoing crisis.
It's like is that the SAN?
Oh no.
Okay, Jackridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I have this question for you. You are a former Niger Delta agitator. I'm sure you've heard about the threats by some militant group to blow up the crude oil pipelines in the region. As someone familiar with the region, can you tell us who these people are, and should their threat be taken seriously? Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can get my question.
Okay. Yeah, actually, that's the fly, fly around the internet. Some time ago, I came and then I also addressed it, perceiving that that was a ploy to get it.
I think there's a problem with the connection there. Yeah, the other time we were speaking with Mr. Jackridge, he said that the lawmakers are deliberately blocking the service. If he's saying that, we didn't get that narrative from the side of the governor that they are blocking the service. What we got was that I have communicated them.
Well,
so if it was blocked, which means it was not communicated.
Someone is obviously not saying the truth, and it seems like they are playing politics with
for
the
their
matter.
own personal gain. Nobody will about destroying. But the truth is that the same persons who are the people causing the problems are the same people who initiated that. It is not our that is not our standard. They are the same people who initiated that. So to make it look as though there are people who are actually, there are people to make it look as if there are people who are actually not happy. Yes, people are not happy with the judgment. I am not happy with the judgment also, but that does not mean that we have resolved to go about destroying oil installations. We are not going to do that because the people that suffers are really the people who lives around the area. These are the people that are facing more of the hits. So such decision was not met anywhere. Whoever decides to say that or who does that, it is at their own peril, not our business.
These threats are not to be taken seriously.
Yeah, I know. Well, for me, like I said, I came out and I refuted it. I am not aware. I am not involved. And I am not part of that. I'm a peace classic today. Whatever it is, anybody has the right to say what they want to say or decide to be angry. But I am not involved and I am not aware. In fact, I can categorically tell you the governor is not of the know. Even the job people is not such people that does that will just go about to begin to destroy installations. You know when we want to carry out these actions. You know when we came out to say enough is enough for the Nigerian state. Today we have reconciled. Even though everything we are expecting is not done, we are still believing God that at the end, the Nigerian state will begin to develop the Niger Delta region. So we are not going to begin to go about destroying that installation, those facilities that we are looking for a way to repair. Today, Ogoni is facing challenges over there. We are looking for how to resolve it. The major thing is the State Assembly should adhere to the directives of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gave 3 major rulings. The major areas that I talked about is, first, the presentation of the appropriation bill to the Assembly. Secondly, that the governor should recognize the Amewule-led Assembly. Thirdly, that the governor should, the Assembly should sit unhindered, inclusive of both the Okonjo-led Assembly and that of Amewule. Now, whatever messages that came afterwards it's not in the law. There is something called it. I'm not a lawyer, but from what I hear, they call it obiter dictum. It means that these are just mere words. That is, part of the judgment. It's not a judgment, but it is something mere word that was said after the judgment and can be challenged in court. And that word cannot stand. The major thing that was addressed is representation of the budget, that of the recognition of Amewule-led ESCO, and the inclusion and the sitting of the other assemblies. So the Amewule-led legislative assembly members are running away from the presentation of the budget deliberately because their paymaster must have directed them not to receive it, just to frustrate the governance, in the state, so that there will be static. The government will be, will be static. There will be no functionality. There will be no expenditure. That way, most of the people will be, will be compared or will be.
Mr. Jackridge, good to hear that the aspect of taking the anger towards the wealth of the nation is off the table. Now, if the House of Assembly chooses not to reconvene to consider this budget, what kind of other pressure do you think Rivers people can put on both the governor and the lawmakers to reach a compromise? Because you have taken a side and other people have taken another side. So how can you put pressure on both parties to reach a compromise for the sake of Rivers people?
See that.
Sorry,
are you with me? Can you hear me now?
Please.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes,
very
you
well.
can
Go
proceed.
ahead.
They will not, because what they want is to compel the governor to give them certain positions by the former governor, who thinks that he is the demigod, is now the Adolphus Hitler of Nigeria. He's now the Adolphus Hitler. If you look at the beard he keeps now, you will see that this is a different person, very wicked and evil man. He wants to
Jackridge, we will not allow. Sorry, Jackridge, Mr. Jackridge.
Okay.
Sorry, you can't use such languages on air here.
Worse than this now. He just came online. He was on air insulting a whole ethnic nationality. What are you talking about? The man is a tyrant. He's now the Adolphus of Nigeria. In fact, as I speak to you, my life is under threat. He has come.
Thank you,
we'll
Mr.
come back to
Jackridge.
you, Mr. Jackridge.
They're planning to apprehend him, to assassinate him.
Mr. Obiagwu, can you hear me?
SAN, are you there with us?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you heard Mr. Jackridge say it's important to obey, the directive of the Supreme Court, but not all of the orders have been obeyed. The governor is yet to authorize the payment of lawmakers' salaries and entitlements, which were likely provided in the previous budget. Do you think this is also another reason that the lawmakers may be holding out?
Well, yes, of course, it may be. Even though it can be argued that under the fiscal management system, the appropriation for last year can only be reflected in the appropriation for this year. So it cannot be retrospective. If these are rolled up into the 2025 appropriation bill, then the governor should go ahead and present the budget, and the House should accept the budget and and all the payments that are outstanding should be paid. I think it is important to emphasize that every gladiator, all the actors in River State should find a political solution to the problem. There's no missing the fact that both camps, both the Wike's camp and Fubara's camp, must sit together and, even issues of commissioners share positions, and because they all work towards these are for the good of River State. And the more stalemate that is being created in this imbroglio, the more the Rivers people will suffer. So the Supreme Court judgment is clear. All the conditions and all the stipulations stated in Supreme Court judgment must be complied with. And if the governor does not comply his own side of the obligations in the judgment, then that's a very major problem. I think it's important that the Attorney General advises him properly.
All right, the law. Earlier you said if there are challenges that you can always go back to the High Court and report the issue to them. Now, why is it difficult for the governor to be advised if you have not been able to properly serve these lawmakers? Are there no other legal options to serve a notice if you have not been successful at the initial one? I said, do you get my question? Oh, I think we lost his connection there. Jack Rich, are you with us? Mr. Jack Rich.
You can go to court and ask for order for substitute service. I can, like I said, you can also bring application for mandamus to compel them to do what they're supposed to do. So there are a number of options open to governor to seek way of making sure that he complies, that the House complies with the rulings of the Supreme Court. But the governor must, on his own part, comply with his own obligations under the Supreme Court judgments. So I think it's a situation where everybody has to participate to bring this to an end.
Now, from your observation, do you think both parties are not interested in helping to resolve this? Because, like you said, there's an option going back to the courts and for an order of mandamus, if I got you right. There's that option, and his lawyers are not exploring that option. And on the side of the lawmakers also, they're holding on to indefinite adjournment. Now, from your observation, do you think both players are not even ready for peace, so the Rivers people continue to suffer as they fight on?
Well, that is the impression every Nigerian gets, that there is no willingness on both parties to sit down and resolve this issue, because the governor has gone to state high court to get certain orders and to contradict, to try to force the assembly not to dissolve his ESCO and so on. These are still confrontational, moves. And I think that will not solve the problem. What is important is to find a way to resolve it politically. Of course, the governor is aware that if he commits any impeachable offense at this time, the House will move to impeachment. So he must be careful not to do so. And one of the things he cannot do is to spend money from the state coffers without an appropriation law, no matter how long it takes. So even if the House shuts down government, once he spends money without appropriation law, it's an impeachable offense. So I think what they can do is to find political solution to the problem, get involved, elder statesmen in River States, ethnic nationalities, to begin to resolve the issues, see how to bring a political solution to the problem. The name calling, like my colleague in this program who is calling, name calling, will not help solve the problem, because that will also aggravate the situation. What's important is for lawyers to seek legal redress, go back to Supreme Court or go back to High Court and complain that these have not been complied with, and the political actors will wade in so that there will be political solution to the problem. That is my own suggestion. But so far, we've not seen that from both parties. They are still holding on and confronting one another, and that's not good for River State.
Well, we'll come back to you shortly, but let's speak with Mr. Jack Rich. If you can hear me, you observe the Tantita Security and other groups from the threat to interrupt the crude oil production. What kind of reaction do you expect from Tantita Security, the Navy, DSS, the Army, and other groups to the threat made by some of these militants against the country's economic lifeline?
Well, like I said earlier, me, I'm working for the Tantita Security. So, and most of these persons in this state here are also working for Tantita Security. Tantita Security has, done so much to improving the production of the oil production today, and we are still up and doing. I have a contract with them, and I'm working very, very professionally. The persons that were cited on that video, they are people who only want to mar or want to, just make the country look as though there is a crisis. Like I said, Tantita Security is on top of the game, and we are ready to fish out wherever. If something happened today, we pray God, we'll join the security agencies and ensure that we fish out such people. The job people are different people. The job people will not go about destroying these facilities. We have resolved not to do such thing. But we want justice. We want the right things to be done. The only thing that can help us out of this situation is, like my brother said, for the assembly to come down. You remember that the governor invited them over. According to them, they were not served rightly. Okay, which way do they want to be served? Whichever way. You should come. The governor has invited them to look at the budget, for them to analyze it and let them also make their input, so that by the time it will come to present it to them at the house, they would have been on the same page. But because they have somebody who has directed them not to, because of their aim is to mar the forthcoming local government election as directed by the Supreme Court. This is the only thing. The governor is so simple and it's so easy to access. He's ready to make, he's ready to just come together to make sure the state is working. But these people believe that they have a paymaster who will be giving them stipends. Tell them, calm down, nothing. Calm down, nothing. One day all this money will come. And they will continue to earn from that stipends and to have, to make sure that the state is in anarchy, the state is impoverished, the people that are working will not even get their way of survival. For the Tantita Security job, you and I know the impacts that Tantita has done through the leadership of Chief Ekpomukolo and Kesim Pondi. They have done so well. I was part of the people that we are aggrieved. But we decided to join force together to make sure with them, to make sure that this protection is carried out, and it has been going out to the best of our knowledge. Okay. Most of the people that are in the system today are also people, including Josh Kelly. He is also one of the contractors working the Tantita. So who are the people coming to blow up the pipeline? When Josh Kelly also asked boys that are in the waterways that are protecting these pipelines. Okay. That is to tell you that it is a deliberate ploy to smear the name of some persons, perceived opponents, so that they can apprehend those people. Security agencies will go ahead of against those opponents and arrest them.
Now, Jack Rich, another concern a lot of Nigerians have is that traditional rulers, religious leaders, and even former militants, people say that you have all taken sides, whether on the governor's side or on the minister's side. Why is it that the entire Rivers State do not have persons that can come up to broker peace? Is that not an what does that say of the people of the state, that no one can come out and say, look, I'm apolitical, let us reach for peace?
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said, peace is priceless. I'll give an example. When one person have agreed to make peace, and the other persons are not giving the room for peace and always attacking, now you will be expecting the wrong man to be playing defense alone. While the other people are attacking him, he will always be playing defense. Up till this day, The governor have not used 1/10 of the powers that he has to address these issues. That is not because the governor is an illiterate. Me, I don't even know more, but the governor is very learned. And the governor knows the steps to take. But you said no. He wanted everybody to come together. There is no traditional ruler. Have you not seen where we can bring down traditional rulers like anything? Recently, a traditional ruler in Kalabari Kingdom, Abalama community, directed that there shall be no function in his field. The people, Wike and his cohorts refused because they have the security to themselves. They brought security, lavish security in every area and intimidated the people. Used the field against the directive of the Amainabo of Abalama. And the entire Amainabo, if you look at the pictures, you will see that you cannot find any reasonable person among them. When the kings, over 38 communities, king came together to say, no, this thing should not be done. Somebody cannot spit on us and just come to compel us to, obey to what he wants. Come into our land to insult us again. That it should not be done. He forced his way in. So which king will talk to Wike that Wike will hear? Apart from the people that are.
Okay. Let's quickly talk to Mr. Chino. Are you there with us? Okay, Mr. Chino, I'm also wondering that the House of Assembly has initiated a process to investigate the chief judge of the state, who also is very important in helping to resolve this crisis. What do you think about the process of investigating the chief judge at this time? Mr. Chino.
Sorry, you broke off. I couldn't hear the last part of what you said.
I'm saying that the House of Assembly have also initiated a process to investigate the chief judge of the state, whom some persons say is very critical in this process of arriving at a peaceful conclusion in the state. So what are your thoughts of the investigation being carried out on the chief judge at this particular moment?
Well, I think it is stated clearly that the House of Assembly has no power to interfere with the tenure of the chief judge. It's the National Judicial Council. Not even the governor can remove the chief judge. You say what happened in Benue State. So I know that what they are trying to do is that when they start the impeachment process, it is the chief judge that will, lead the process of investigation and tabling the report. So they're preparing ground for that. Well, I think it's important, like I earlier said, that all the parties must show their sword and broker for peace. And like you mentioned, I don't think that has happened. Even the civil society, the traditional rulers, the religious leaders, everybody appears to have taken sides. And that is really very bad. What I expect the governor to do is to do rewriting. The governor has actually not done rewriting because the Supreme Court has said the assembly led by Amawulu is the proper assembly, and therefore every other thing done by the other assembly, the 4 members that were sitting in a hotel, were null and void. That's clear. So including the issue of commissioners, including the issue of approval of his appropriation, and so on. So I think they should just come down from the high house and try to see how to go backwards and do what is needful. We all know what is needful. All the things, all the approvals that were done by the house that Supreme Court has said is illegal should be reversed, and the proper House of Assembly should reconsider those things. It is a hard call for the governor, but it is the reality. Because once the Supreme Court has ruled that that 4-member assembly who are sitting illegal, and that it is a Amawulu faction that is a proper House of Assembly of Rivers State, the governor should retrace himself and do the needful. Right. That is showing good faith, because once the governor shows good faith, it means that he's ready for peace. He cannot just talk about appropriation bill only, because there are other issues that need to be dealt with, which the former House, the President has to deal with. So I think that it is important that all parties seek for peace genuinely, and traditional rulers should intervene.
Speaking about all parties seeking for peace, all peace efforts made in this matter, it appears the House of Assembly has been neglected as all peace moves have been directed towards either the Minister of the FCT, which is Wike, and the Governor, Fubara. Don't you think ignoring these lawmakers and not trying to pacify them is also a problem?
Well, yes, it's a problem because the attitude is that Wike speaks, is the leader of the group, and whatever directives he gives to the members of the House, and talking about the man who loses a faction, is what they do. So I think what government people are doing is to reach out to the.
Okay.
All right.
I think we'll have a challenge again with the network there.
I'm afraid that's where we have to leave the conversation today. We hope that you could get the best of it, and we hope that, peace returns to River State as it is. That's our package from here in Abuja. It's back to you in Lagos, Etoma and Ibrahim.
Thank you very much. And it has been much ado about River State, isn't it? Yeah. All right. It's now time for